Hey everybody, this is Jace with WMPoweredUser.com, and this is our video that asked me anything about the Lumia 950 and the Continuum dock. Now bear with me a little bit. It's about 3 in the morning here and I've had a long night with my kids, so yeah, I know my eyes are a little bit red, so bear with me, the sacrifices I make for you guys. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. Can you easily hide notifications on the second screen using Continuum? If I'm using it to project stuff to a large audience, is there a way they not see what's incoming on my phone? Yes, you can. In fact, you don't have to do anything to hide those notifications. They don't actually pop up with the little sidebar in the notification center like in Windows 10, at least with a full desktop PC. They're just simply not there. They're easy to hide because you don't have to hide them in the first place. They just hide in the Action Center on the right side of the screen. Does the 950 feel like a premium phone based on its physical build and materials? Now, this is a really hard question to answer because it's really completely subjective. It depends on what you think a premium device feels like. I personally don't mind the way the 950 feels when I'm holding it. I don't mind the polycarbonate body. In fact, my favorite device I ever had to hold and to use it was my Lumia 920, my cyan one. I absolutely loved that device and I loved the way that it felt. And it's certainly light, and that's something that I've found that can be a caveat. It depends on what your personal bias is again. I mean, it's on par with the current iPhones and Samsungs in terms of weight, or it's very close to it. I've heard some people complain that they feel like an iPhone and a Galaxy S are too light. And I can understand that. Sometimes it's nice to feel something substantial in your hand, but you know, I've heard a lot of people complain that it doesn't have a metal edge like the 930 or the 830 had, and I actually own the 830, and I'll say I liked the metal edges at first, but as time went on, I was less and less intrigued by the metal edges. I found that just via normal wear and tear, the finish started to wear off of the phone, not just on the corners, but on the metal side of the body too. And I felt like that made my device look cheap. So, you know, again, this is completely subjective. There's plenty of third-party options out there to replace the back cover, or a lot of people just end up putting their phone straight into a case anyway. So, you know, again, that's entirely up to you. I personally don't mind it. Is the 950 XL better than the 950? Can Continuum change the mobile market and Windows 10 mobile's future? Gosh, this is another completely subjective question. I personally prefer the 950. I've long been a naysayer of the massive screen revolution that we've got going on right now. It seems like you can't buy a device, a high-end device that isn't at least 5 inches or bigger. And for me, I mean, I have big hands, but my favorite device that I've ever held as far as comfort and being able to reach the corners and not have to feel like I'm stretching was my Lumia 920. Like I said, I absolutely love that device. I felt like it was a really great example of size and build and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it was heavy and it was a little thick, and you look back on it, and I've held one recently and I'm like, holy crap, this thing feels huge. This thing feels really fat. But again, I really liked that screen size. That being said, I would never consider purchasing an XL just for myself, just because I think the screen is just too huge. Now, certainly on paper, the XL has the edge. It has the octa-core processor as opposed to the hexa-core processor. I think performance-wise, they're probably very close. I've held both of them in my hand and I've scrolled on them at the same time. I can't say the XL feels any faster than the 950 does. Maybe that will come into play when you're really taxing Continuum. And along with that, the second part of this question, can Continuum change the mobile space? We'll see. I think that Continuum this is a stepping stone, because as you saw a little bit earlier today, that basically the Surface phone is on the way. It's probably due for some time in the second half of next year, is what everybody is hearing. And you know, I think that this is going to be a test of that implementation, and when it's taken to the next level, if the Surface phone will be able to support 132 apps and stuff like that moving forward, if you can install Photoshop on your Surface phone and be able to use that in Continuum, I think that would be a massive game changer. It would certainly accelerate a lot of businessmen, professionals adoption, where they could have one device instead of having a tablet and a laptop and a phone. When they go out on the road, they could do it all in one device. I could see how that could be very appealing. So we'll see. Right now, as it's implemented, it's a really cool feature. It's nice to have in certain scenarios. It's super useful, but I don't think right now, I don't see you're going to see a massive upheaval of everyone just leaving their old devices in the past and flocking to Windows Phone just because there's Continuum. I think it's going to intrigue a lot of people. It's going to plant the idea in people's heads, and once it's really matured, it's going to be something that's really important to a lot of people once they see what it can do. Does it have FM radio? No. It doesn't. It doesn't have the factory app installed that you're used to seeing on previous Lumia devices. However, there are plenty of third-party options as an FM transmitter, as an FM radio, and they work really well. I was very surprised to see that app wasn't pre-installed, but again, you can use FM radio just like you did in the past. It just requires a third-party application. How is the default color temperature of the screen? Does the 950 have the display extra to adjust the color temperature if it's not to my liking? The color temperature really seemed pretty neutral to me. If anything, it was a little bit on the cool side, but that being said, you can change the color profile in the settings. It's there. I tweaked mine just a little bit warmer, but overall, it seemed like it was fine. I didn't have a problem with it, but if you do, jump into those settings and tweak it to cooler or warmer, however you like it. Is it true the Lumia 950 doesn't support double tap to wake? No, double tap to wake is not currently supported by the 950 series. We've heard this is supposed to be coming in a future update. We'll just have to wait and see. Do you need the dock? Are there alternatives out there already that can create a similar experience that only the 950 and 950 XL meet the requirements? That depends on how you're going to use it. If you plan on being a heavy Continuum user, get the dock. That's why they made it. Those extra USB ports, the display port, the HDMI, it's a fantastic experience. It's a great little piece of hardware. However, there are solutions out there where you can take advantage of Continuum without having to shell out the money for the display dock. I personally like the Microsoft wireless display adapter. I have a Bluetooth keyboard. I have the Surface Edition Arc Touch mouse. So in that way, I was able to use Continuum completely wirelessly, even keyboard and mouse. There's the Action Tech Screen Beam Mini 2, which we've tested out. That was really great. And that actually supports a USB peripheral with the cable that comes with it. And you can also buy a USB Type-C to HDMI adapter, just a short adapter dongle that lets you use Continuum as well. So really, there's a huge array of price options from anywhere from $20 to $25 all the way up to the display dock, the Continuum dock, all up to $100. So it depends on how you're going to use it, but if you're going to utilize Continuum frequently, get it. If not, and you just want to play around with it once in a while, do one of the cheaper options. Does hooking everything up to the Microsoft display dock really create a rat's nest of cables that I've seen in all the video reviews? No, it doesn't have to. It depends on how you hook it up. Obviously, I mean, I've seen cables. You can see I have some cables running around here. I'm a little bit messy when it comes to that, but it depends on how you organize it. My guess is, and even when you saw it displayed here, it was going to sit here temporarily. I have it hooked up to my TV out there now, but it depends on how you do it. My guess is it was mostly a big rat's nest, as you'd call it, because it was a temporary figment on people's desks. They didn't go through all the trouble of routing the cables and making it look pretty when it was just going to be a temporary thing on their desk. You know, climbing back behind the desk and getting on your hands and knees and routing cables, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So, I mean, it depends on you. It can be as clean or as messy as you want it to be. That being said, though, if you're going to use obviously a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, that's going to cut down on your cables pretty significantly. So really that depends on the user. I want to know what happens when you connect a hard drive to the display dock. Does it show up in the phone's file explorer so you can transfer files / stream media? When you hook up hard drives and jump drives, that kind of stuff, it does pop up in the file explorer, and I have to say it was a pretty great experience. I really liked the way the file explorer was implemented, and if you look at our video, our Continuum dock, our in-depth look at Continuum, we actually talk about in there. And again, the implementation of it was fantastic. I mean, it was better even than the modern style file explorer that came in Windows 8 and 8.1. It was a fantastic experience. I really enjoyed it. Can I use screen sharing without Continuum? Now I can't watch Netflix through screen sharing anymore because Continuum is starting. Yes, you can use screen sharing without having to use Continuum. I was with you at first when I was playing with Continuum. I was really kind of mad because I thought that, oh great, now I have my wireless display adapter. I use it on road trips and stuff like that, in a hotel, to stream Netflix straight from my phone, and now I can't do that because I'm straight out locked in Continuum. Again, that's not the case. If you dig a little farther into the menus, you can go into the display settings and you can actually change it. Microsoft calls it mirroring your display, so you can do that. But as far as Netflix goes, again, referencing a video we did about a week ago, you can still stream Netflix on the device in Continuum. You just need to use the web browser, and it actually streams in the web browser really well. We were really pretty impressed with it. Does the Xbox One streaming app work on the Xbox app? Right now, I can't answer that question because I don't own an Xbox One yet. I wish I did. No, really, I don't own an Xbox One. I don't have a PS4 either, so no, I haven't defected. But yeah, I can't test that feature for you. My gut tells me no. It's probably a hardware limitation. I will say this too. I do have a wired Xbox 360 controller, and I plugged it into one of the USB ports on the back of the Continuum dock, and I actually got an error message saying, you know, this USB device doesn't work, or you need to fix this USB device. So that was actually kind of disappointing to me. I was hoping maybe we'd be able to do Asphalt 8 on the phone with a USB connected Xbox 360 controller, but Asphalt 8 doesn't even launch in Continuum right now. It's not. It doesn't support the Continuum feature. So that being said, again, I would say probably not at this point. I can see the thinking. I can see the wishful thinking. I mean, I'm even a step behind you because I don't even own an Xbox One yet. So as of right now, I would say no, but again, I can't really give you a total answer to that question. All right, that does it for our Lumia 950 and Continuum Ask Me Anything. We hope you enjoyed it. We tried to get to as many questions as you can. Some of the questions we'd already answered in the past. Some of them got answered in the thread. But as always, keep checking the site. We're going to have continuing news on the 950 and the 950 XL. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.